Palestine went from this to this, and it didn't happen overnight.
What about this map of Israel? Where is Israel? Where does the land of Israel begin and end? Look at this map. Where was Israel in 1947? And where is Israel now?
This is not your place anymore.
It's my place here.
This, all this, what you see,
In your dream.
it belongs to Israel.
In your dream.
Okay?
In your dream. In your dream.
Not Palestine, it's finished Palestine.
In your dream.
It's Bibi in the government.
Baby, in my dream.
dreams, baby.
You're fucking, you pissed this shit. You're fucking.
You will see.
Jacob, you know this is not your house.
Yes, but if I go, you don't go back. So what's the problem? Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do this. I didn't do this.
But
It's easy to yell at me, but I didn't do this.
you are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
No one is allowed to steal it, ya ammi.
Israel's recent attacks on Gaza have been one of the most devastating in the last 13 years, and certainly the most brutal since 2014, when more than 2,000 Palestinians were killed.
The ceasefire between the Israelis and Palestinians has been greeted with relief in Gaza, but the shelling has had a lasting and devastating impact. The Israeli military damaged or destroyed more than 130 educational facilities, including schools, universities, libraries and trade schools.
قررنا ومنطلقنا هو اللي فيه التجهيزات تبعتنا وهو اللي فيه كل شيء بمكننا من العمل بسهولة كما
On Wednesday morning, people in Gaza woke up to hundreds of Israeli airstrikes. Entire apartment blocks have been toppled. Hundreds of people are displaced, and thousands more have fled their homes. The Israeli military has beefed up its presence near Gaza, sending in additional troops and tanks. Israel says its jets have targeted and killed several Hamas intelligence leaders.
Palestinians in Gaza are searching through the rubble of their homes after Israeli airstrikes destroyed several buildings. And people are mourning their losses.
حين لقينا الغرف الشقة كلها مكسرة ودخان أسود في قلبها ومحدش فينا.
Israeli air fire killed at least 20 Palestinians in Gaza on Monday, many of them children. Israel said the strikes were in retaliation for rockets launched into Israel. 100 Palestinians were wounded, many of them worshipping inside. The violence follows large-scale Palestinian protests against Israel's forced. Washington provides Israel with more than $3 billion a year to help prop up its military. And for now, Palestinian families. In the besieged Gaza Strip, towers were reduced to rubble, leaving dozens of Palestinians missing and dead. The search for bodies is a primitive one and may last for days.
Today, Gaza's fishermen go out to sea, but Israeli restrictions prevent them from going farther than 6 nautical miles from shore. That means they're catching fewer fish and having trouble feeding their families.
You can see what we get in the 6 miles. If we work within 9, 12 or 15 nautical miles, we'll be able to get better types of fish like grouper, amberjack, bream, shrimp and calamari.
The Israeli bombardment of Gaza continues. Despite U.S. President Joe Biden's phone call to Benjamin Netanyahu, saying he expects a significant de-escalation.
As I told ambassadors here today, this is the inherent right of Israel.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has accused Israel of organized state terrorism. He has also continued his demand for an end to Israeli aggression against Palestinian civilians.
What the Israeli military is doing now in Gaza is a brutal attack against civilians.
It could take years for the building to be rebuilt, especially if the blockage is not lifted. The Gaza Housing Ministry says more than 2,000 homes have been destroyed and tens of thousands of people have been displaced.
A moment of terror for these small children as Israel bombed Gaza. Mohammed al-Mashrawi and his wife managed to calm their 5-year-old triplets.
On a formal joint statement, Today there were clashes between Palestinian protesters and Israeli security forces in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. Our Middle East editor, Jeremy Bowen, reports now from Jerusalem, and there are some distressing images in the report.
The Israeli army blew up the car of a man who attacked them with grenades. Soldiers shot him dead. It was the center of Hebron where soldiers protected Jewish settlement.
An 11-day war in Gaza. It also sparked unprecedented demonstrations across Israel and the occupied territories against the forced expulsion.
Here in Sheikh Jarrah, about an hour ago, we saw something which happens a lot too at the moment. That is a water cannon, but it's not of the type that you might see in Europe or America, because it's got skunk water in, which has a rancid smell, takes days to get off your skin.
زانين بقلال متنحلين محفات معون بقلال متنحلين محفات معون راك يا نديم ما زين تتفرشوا نو
תוריד אליהם, תוריד, רוח רגיל, יאללה. רוח
כבר!